Welcome back, me. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It has been a few weeks since I've hopped on the air to discuss anything wrestling related. I was busy with obligations that I needed to fulfill. I relaunched the Big Game James Show. I've renamed it to Jimmy Flames Baseball Fury over at iHeartRadio, which I'm very excited about. You should check that show out sometime if you're a baseball fan, as I go into, not only do I discuss baseball, but I also discuss a lot of baseball history, a lot of funny stories in baseball, etc., etc. But check that show out too if you can. But yeah, that's what I've been up to the last couple weeks. I've also been out on the road breaking my back some more in the wrestling world. Big shout out to Pacific Wrestling Federation, to Randy Taylor, to all the folks that wrestle out there over there at Port Orchard. They're doing about once a month over there at the Eagles Lodge, quickly becoming one of my favorite venues to wrestle in, not just because the crowd is very, very lively, but they're really into it. But Randy Taylor has a lot to do with it. I just love working for that guy. I love wrestling for that guy. He's someone that, I just throw my body on the line in the ring for. He's just one of those people that you just love being around. If you've been around wrestling long enough, you know who Randy Taylor is. If not, do yourself a favor and just reach out to him. Get to know him or do something, because he is, in my opinion, one of professional wrestling's best kept secrets, and he's been one of professional wrestling's best kept secrets for a very, very long time, Daddy. A long time. In fact, Randy Taylor was one of the first people I'd ever encountered in the wrestling business out here in the Pacific Northwest when I first came out on the scene here in 2002. I was fresh from Maryland, had no idea what I was doing out here, and not only did I meet the chef Mark Ferguson, who brought me into his training academy and got me all, he corrected a lot of things I was doing, so to speak. That's for another podcast. But Randy Taylor is one of the guys that was around and, always had an ear, always willing to discuss wrestling with me, and he's always just been cool ever since. And he's got the Pacific Wrestling Federation up and running once again. They're going strong. I think they're going to start doing 2 shows a month coming up here pretty quick. But if you get the chance to get out to Port Orchard, Washington, check them out. Look them up on the internet. Google Pacific Wrestling Federation. Check out that promotion. It's an exciting promotion, very old school. I love everything about it, and I'm really excited to get to do the next card. I've also let's see, what else have I been doing while I was gone? Getting ready for NWWA coming up on April 15th. I got a big match against Johnny Paradise. It's a rematch from a steel cage match we had last month down there in Portland, Oregon at the Milwaukee Elks Lodge, a match in which Johnny Paradise came out on top. But everybody can see that I made him tap. The video's out there. I made him tap, and I filed a protest with NWWA Wrestling, took the avenues I needed to take to get that rematch, and one was granted fairly quickly, especially after viewing of the videotape. So I got Johnny Paradise once again, April 15th, in a match for the Premier Division Championship down there in Portland, Oregon. Get there if you can. Even if you can't, just get there. It's going to be a big match, baby. The card is stacked as well. We got Wade Hess and company, Andrew Watson, Derek Drexel, the Dr. Cleaver also on the card. It's a stacked card. It's going to be an exciting night down there in Portland, Oregon, April 15th. I think doors are at 6:30. Milwaukee Elks Lodge, one of the greatest venues in the entire United States to see wrestling at. If you're in the area, get to it. Like I said before, I was working on the Big Game James Show / Jimmy Flames Baseball Fury. I'm excited to be back in the baseball game. It's going to be it's airing on iHeartRadio. Actually, just look up. I don't think that iHeartRadio has updated the name change yet. So just look up the Big Game James Show. Check it out if you're a fan of baseball. If you're a fan of history, check it out. It's a fun show to do, and I have a blast doing it. There's 2 things that I just love talking about. That's baseball and wrestling. Now, speaking of wrestling, this is my big Wrestlemania show. Just going to do a brief preview of WrestleMania 33 down there in Orlando, Florida. If you're there, if you're a worker and you're there, look out for each other. There's apparently an unprecedented amount of wrestling workers down there at WrestleMania 33 this time around. There's like 100 shows running this week in Orlando alone. So if you're down there, get out to them, check them out. You're going to find a new hero. You're going to find, a new wrestler that you really like that you've never seen before. You're going to see wrestlers that should be on the WrestleMania card wrestling some indie spots down there. Either way, support it. Check it out. It's sure to be entertaining. I mean, the whole way. It's funny. Like there's a little bit of an irony going on here. My lady Stephanie is down there visiting her I think her mother's sisters. And forgive me for not remember aunts or whatever. Yeah, never mind. Jeez Louise, I have brain farts once in a while, and they are pretty bad when they happen. But nevertheless, she's down there visiting family, down there in the Orlando area. At least that's what she told me she's doing. I have a feeling she's actually sneaking up there getting some of that WrestleMania action. So if any of y'all run into her, tell her I said, what's up? I'm up here in Seattle, Washington, holding down the fort. Holding down the fort, gobbling up bookings up here. I mean, everybody left, so I'm sticking around Northwest trying to get mine, you know what I'm saying? Maybe one of these days I'll get to do the WrestleMania thing as a participant in WrestleMania, but we'll see. I'm enjoying what I'm doing. Pushing hard all the time. This has been one of my busiest years, aside from, I want to say 1998 or 1999. This is definitely one of the busiest years I've ever had in wrestling. I'm definitely on pace to do like 160 or 170 matches or something like that, which would be right up there with the busiest year I've ever had. And that was a long time ago. I was like a whole nother person then, in terms of look, weight, everything, attitude. I was just bright-eyed, just as green as could be, youngster running around, just trying to get my wrestling on. But it's great that the wrestling industry has picked up to the point where we have guys out there working 3 times a week. You know what I mean? It's like before, I remember, just even a few short years ago when I went out and hid in the South, didn't really tell anybody what I was doing. I thought wrestling once a month was busy. Because then again, I was in school and taking care of some personal things, along the education lines and all that stuff, getting my brain learning on. Is that a real phrase? I just made it up anyhow. Just, getting that big brain, baby. Earning college degrees and all that sort of stuff. Wrestling once a month sort of, without really letting anybody in on what I was doing was a lot. Some guys, that's still a lot. Getting out once a month is a privilege. And I just feel blessed that these days, all the schooling is behind me, at least temporarily. I might go back. We'll see. I'm always hungry for knowledge, thirsty for knowledge. I do love the classroom. I love the interaction with professors. And getting published is pretty fun too. Having published academic work is always a real treat and always a real privilege. But like I said, these days, man, I feel really privileged to be out there. Three times a week on average, twice a week definitely. But I'm really busy. I'm out there having one of the busiest years of my life in professional wrestling. I'm just loving it the whole way. I hear the grumblings on the internet sometimes about, somebody doing this or that or me doing this or that. But, that's the kind of stuff you got to ignore. People, it's like the old adage. Assholes are like opinions, or vice versa. Opinions are like assholes. There I go again. Opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one. And that's all I'm going to say about that, Jack. But anyhow, let's talk WrestleMania. You're into it. I don't care how much. I don't give a damn how much you say this year is going to be bad. Blah blah. I hear, like I said, I hear the grumblings on the internet all the time. I'm on the internet. You know what I'm saying? I'm not one of them old dudes that's like, I don't even know what this is. No, Been on the internet for a long time, daddy. But I'm pulling up the card here right now, and the card, I mean, this is a solid this is more than a solid card. This is going to be fun. It's going to be a fun ride. And there's 2 shows, of course. There's always the pre-show, which is, I think, 2 hours long, and then WrestleMania 33 promises to be 4 hours long. I remember back in the day when Mike Tyson was knocking people out in like 30 seconds, one of the big advertisements for like WrestleMania 3, 4, 5, 6, or whatever. Actually, not 3. 3 did not do the whole pay-per-view Mike Tyson thing, etc. But I want to say like WrestleMania 6, one of the promises was this is not going to be a 30-second main event. You can guarantee that. This is around the time that Vince started coming out and telling the public some of the secrets of wrestling. So it wasn't really that big of a deal to promise people a 4-hour extravaganza and an undercard. So this promises to be, a long day, long week, definitely a long night of professional wrestling, especially for people working, the people working behind the scenes. Did you guys see that setup? I mean, the ramp is like a mile long. The ramp to the ring is it's just enormous. And I jokingly tweeted the other day at Jimmy Flame 77, by the way, jokingly tweeted, they should bring back the dynamic dudes and have them skateboard down to the freaking ring. Come on, man. I want to see Shane Douglas on a skateboard go all the way down that ramp. In the least, put somebody on some roller skates. Let's give the people what they want. Let's give them some entertainment. But nevertheless, we've got the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal during the kickoff show. It's going to feature Big Show, Braun Strowman, Sami Zayn, etc. All the big men, all kinds of dudes. There's a rumor that Samoa Joe might jump in on this, and that'd be fun if he did. I mean, he's a big guy. He's a big guy with an attitude. Why not? Send him on out there. And we have the Cruiserweight Championship during the kickoff show as well, with Neville versus Austin Aries. The Women's Championship, Alexa Bliss versus, it's being reported, versus all available women. This is a SmackDown event for the Women's Championship. And then we have a Raw event that is Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, tag team champions, versus Enzo Amore and Big Cass and Cesaro and Sheamus. Wow, that's funny trying to read all that at once. I don't even have my glasses on. It's hilarious. But it's a tag team championship triple threat ladder match. If you added any more gimmicks, you might think you're in Mid-South Wrestling. And then we have Dean Ambrose for the Intercontinental Championship defending the title against Baron Corbin. That's going to be a good one. Dean Ambrose is always a fun one to watch. And then the United States Championship, Chris Jericho versus Kevin Owens. I've heard people talking about how this could be a show stealer. It could be a Macho Man versus Steamboat Part 2 type match. That's sure to get the internet grumbling a little bit. Whoo! I need to learn how to inhale air properly. The Women's Championship Fatal 4-Way. To the elimination match, Bayley, the champion, versus Charlotte Flair, Sasha Banks versus Nia Jax. They all going for that title. Come on, let's see it. Then we got John Cena and Nikki Bella versus The Miz and Maryse. Apparently Al Roker is the guest announcer for that match. Now, Vince McMahon always pulls out celebrities during WrestleMania, and Al Roker announcing a match is just like, I think that's genius. I think that's freaking genius. Then we have Shane McMahon versus AJ Styles. I heard Rip Rogers was talking about having Shane McMahon go out there. If he was booking it, he'd have Shane McMahon go out there and get punked, basically, and then submitted with it quickly, and then sent off to Europe and Mexico to learn the craft, and then he could come back a bigger, stronger wrestler. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see about that. I think that's going to be a dynamite match as well. And then we have Triple H versus Seth Rollins. This one's allegedly non-sanctioned. It's Triple H versus Seth Rollins. And then The Undertaker versus Roman Reigns. The Raw brand, baby, being represented. And then in your WWE Championship match, Bray Wyatt, the champion, versus Randy the Viper Orton. Randy the Viper Orton. And of course, we're going to have Brock Lesnar and Goldberg going for the Universal Championship. Brock Lesnar has got to be a little flummoxed about how this whole booking coming up or whatever. Getting beat by Goldberg in a total time of like 30 seconds or something between two matches. Goldberg's the champ. He's coming in hot. We shall see if this is going to be Mike Tyson once again coming in for that 30-second match. But then again, the WWE always promises for a long and a good... I tell you what, here's how you could tell. If we're like 3 hours and 57 minutes into WrestleMania and this match happens, I say no more, baby. Say no more. But yeah, that's basically wraps up your whole WWE WrestleMania 33 card. There's a couple rumors floating around the internet. The one I spoke about before was Samoa Joe, making his way into the Battle Royal. It looks like it's something that could happen. There's also people talking about the stipulations of the Intercontinental Championship match between McMahon and Styles. Some of the stipulations that have been brought up are Falls Count Anywhere or No Holds Barred. Maybe a combination of both. Who knows? We're going to see how this plays out. Shane McMahon, underrated. The guy can put on a show, all right? So just shut up with your internet bickering. And AJ Styles can always carry a match anyway if he has to. A proposal has been heavily hinted at as Cena teams up with his real-life girlfriend at WrestleMania. Some people think he's going to propose to her in the ring. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if something beautiful is going to happen there, Daddy. I mean, let's just wait out and see what happens with that. And interestingly enough, the SmackDown version of the Tag Team Championship changed hands recently, but it's not currently being defended on the card. That could be a last-minute addition, maybe to the preliminary matches, the 2-hour show prior to WrestleMania. Hell, it could make its way onto WrestleMania. We'll see. And then finally, Finn Balor had been wrestling in house shows. Could he be of any impact? Could he impact the Triple H Rollins match, or will the WWE save his return for Raw next Monday, or perhaps something else a little further down the road? Who knows? I mean, these are all rhetorical questions, rhetorical statements. These are just things that I've been reading around the internet. I've got some ears close to the company, too, that I speak to on a frequent basis. That sort of, let's just say there's some corroboration to all of this. But yeah, WrestleMania 33, man, it's coming up. I'm definitely going to try and watch it. If I'm not wrestling that night, I'm definitely going to watch it somewhere. But there are a few bookings out there that I'm possibly going to jump on. Might require a last-minute plane ticket. Fortunately, I got the cash to do it, baby. But yeah, if I'm in town and I'm not working, I'm going to go ahead and find me a WrestleMania party. So hit me up on Facebook and Twitter with your WrestleMania parties. On Twitter at JimmyFlame77, tell me what's going on. And on Facebook, just look up JimmyFlame77. Look for the guy with the blonde hair, baby. Look for the exciting guy with the blonde hair. But, with all this WrestleMania hype happening this week, I was thinking, and I'm going to end the show with just a little bit of a thought process I was having while I was driving around today. I was out buying some new camera lenses. I'm improving the my video stuff, and I was out purchasing some camera lenses, and it just dawned on me. I was like, with the state of indie wrestling right now, with the several promotions out there working together, not really. I don't see a whole lot of nefarious competition going on. It seems like people are really working together these days. Why not have a gigantic indie WrestleMania type thing? I mean, WrestleMania is purported to be the Super Bowl of professional wrestling, but it's only the Super Bowl of professional wrestling for guys that are in the WWE. Now, indie wrestling, there are indie companies that have their big shows. Like Ring of Honor has big show. TNA, Pacific Championship Wrestling picking up steam. New Japan America is about to launch, and they're for sure going to have some giant cards. But I'm talking a pure underground indie tournament. A couple of cats need to get together. I'm willing to be on the board for this because I'm thinking of all these things, but carve the United States up into a couple of different places. Like, of course, it sort of carves itself anyway. We have the Pacific Northwest. We got the Southwest. We have the West Coast. Like, say, California could be its own thing. Then we have the Southwest, the Southeast, and then we have Dixie within the Southeast. We have the Mid-Atlantic, and then the Northeast, and then we, of course, have the Midwest. Now, why not? And people typically wrestle regionally. It's almost like the territory days, and people kind of embed themselves in a region and they just tear it up. So why not get a couple of business savvy promoters together, some cats together that just want to have some freaking fun with this, and host regional tournaments where, just like March Madness, where the winners of these regional tournaments get an automatic bid to the big show, to the big tournament. It could be held somewhere in the middle of the United States, like Kansas City or something like that. Somewhere where the licensing is a little loose. That way, people aren't having to go through the rigmarole process of getting a new license just for one match, et cetera, et cetera. But maybe even Georgia. I don't know. Like somewhere where the licensing process is relatively easy for wrestlers to get. But have regional tournaments all done on a single weekend. The winner of each tournament gets an automatic bid to the big tournament, which will be held, a couple months down the road or whatever. And 3 other wrestlers. So essentially, each region would send 4 wrestlers to the Super Bowl, to the Indie Super Bowl. Now, I don't know about you, but something like that excites me. I would invest in that. I would partake in that. I would even help bring the promoters together, or at least try to bring some promoters together to make this happen. But you have all these regional tournaments, and you advertise them all in conjunction with each other, concomitantly with each other. And I believe that would strike some interest in the fans of independent wrestling. I think a lot of people would be very, very interested in this, extremely interested in this. This whole concept. It'd be a moneymaker for everybody. Draw up the contracts, whatever, But just invest in this a little bit, make it happen. But so you have your regional tournaments, and you hype it. That the winners of these tournaments get an automatic bid to the Super Bowl of indie wrestling, completely free of major companies. Nothing against Ring of Honor or TNA or WWE or New Japan or any of the other large companies. Nothing against them, for real. But make this a true indie, unsigned talent tournament. I believe that the wrestling world, wrestling fans all around the world would be extremely interested to watch this thing. And I think it would strike interest in each region as well. Could you imagine, I'm just going to use the Pacific Northwest because that's where I'm currently based right now. This is where I'm currently working most right now. But I can see, I can definitely foresee a lot of interest in this happening. Just the prospect of a fan seeing one of their local favorites go on to a national Super Bowl of indie wrestling, I think is enough to spark ticket sales. And I think it could spark a lot of ticket sales if done right, if done appropriately. But it has to be legit. So all, pretty much all the promotions that are active would have to have some sort of representation in this tournament. Now, I get the politics. Everyone's going to have to sit around a table, and this isn't something I'm going to delve into so much on a public radio broadcast. But I know there's some behind-the-scenes politicking that would have to happen to figure out who in hell is not only going to be in the tournament, but who's going to take it all, baby. You know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, the scheme is simple. Have a tournament. The winner gets an automatic bid, and then there'll be 3 other spots available to either wrestlers who showed, did a strong showing, or whatever. There's some sort of litmus test that we can come up with that would help determine who the other 3 wrestlers are to send off to the big indie Super Bowl. And then there's like another layer of politics that has to happen once you get to the indie Super Bowl, between all of the promoters jockeying for position to make their guy look strong, et cetera, et cetera. That's another. I mean, and I understand like that the ideology is gigantic. You know, it's very optimistic. But I really think if we could get some face-to-face time at a large table with the promoters that want to participate. Now, let me backtrack just a little bit. Now, the participation has to be pretty much wide open, because there should not be any question as to the integrity of wrestlers being sent on or participating in tournaments. There should be no integral questioning. You know, that was one of the big problems, I believe, with some wrestling in like the 70s and 80s, was the integrity was really brought to the forefront. It was sort of like people were wanting validation that the wrestling that they were watching was a competition, was a struggle, was what they thought it was. You know, and some of that stuff was kind of crushed. You know, people for a long time know what this stuff is. You know what I mean? But there's a difference between validating something that you're actively participating in as a viewer, if you follow me, and telling somebody that what they're doing is bullshit. You know what I mean? There's a fine line between those two things. And then I think the latter is where we sort of impart our wisdom most of the time. Instead of thinking about like, look, these fans are in on it. They know what we're doing. They don't know everything we're doing, but they know. I mean, thanks to the internet and all that good fun stuff. You know what I mean? They know to a certainty, to a substantial certainty rather. But they know to a substantial certainty what we're doing in the ring. They don't know all the nuances, but they want to know that what they're watching is valid. They want to know their choice in participating as a viewer is valid. They want to know they're making a good choice. And how do you do that? You protect the integrity of the art form. Now, many, I got to give credit to most of the people that I've encountered out there. There is a lot of pride and integrity going on in the wrestling business. I get around, I see all this stuff. You know, I'm not like the ambassador of pro wrestling, but I get around enough to know that people are really concerned with integrity, and not to generalize, all people as a whole, but they really care about what they're doing. And I believe that people, the wrestlers and promoters understand. They might not phrase it the same way I do sometimes, but I think they understand that their fans want to be validated, that they want to know that they made a good purchase and they're not being duped. And that is the thing we need to protect if we're going to start talking about doing a national tournament, a regional tournament that turns into a national Super Bowl-like true indie Super Bowl event. All right, I hope this is all making sense to you, but I'm going to do some more thinking about this, and I've got some people I need to talk to, and maybe on the next show or a show down the road we can get a little bit more into detail in this. But this is just an overview, sort of like a blueprint overview of just some things that I've been thinking about lately in terms of like how can we really step up the indie game, because I believe the talent is out there to compete. We don't have the big umbrella corporation behind us saying, hey, everyone, this product is going to give you this, this, and this, ABC, every single time out. We don't really have that because it's not that we're just independent contractors, but we're fiercely independent. Fiercely independent. So that's that. Like I said, go over to Facebook, JimmyFlame77, Twitter at JimmyFlame77. Let me know what you think about all that. If you even care. I don't care. I'm just. I care about that. I mean, it would be cool to see it happen, but whether whether you like it or not, I'm here. Put it that way. I'm not going anywhere, but I'm not going anywhere, buddy. And the podcast lives on, and I'm gonna be a little bit better about being more on top of getting this thing done. But like I said, sometimes obligations come up, and you got to go do them. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. Get out there, support your independent wrestling. We got PWF in the air, Northwest Pro, 321 Battle, SCW, NWWA, BCW. We got so many freaking wrestling promotions out here in the Northwest that there's no reason why you can't be entertained all the time, baby. Until next time, this is Jimmy Flame with the Art of Hitting Your Opponent with a Planet, signing off, and I will talk to you soon, Daddy. Ow!